Welcome back to Canada's Farm Show. I'm your host, Sherilyn Jolly-Nagel. I'm a farmer from Mossbank, Saskatchewan. It's wonderful to have you join us for today's manufacturing panel. I'm joined by two guests. On stage with me is Rick Hubrick from Claas, under the nice bright lights. Thanks for joining me, Rick.
Thanks for having me. Nice to meet you.
And virtually, we have Robert Fagnew from Bourgault Industries. Hi, Robert.
Hi, how are you doing?
Really good, thank you. And where are you calling in from?
I'm calling in from our head office in St. Bruce, Saskatchewan. So we're about 3 hours north of Regina.
Yeah, very good. Okay, well, I would like to start off our manufacturing panel, just giving a brief introduction of our two guests. I'll start with Rick here. Rick's been telling me a lot about his experiences with Claas and in the industry. So Rick, tell us a little bit about you and a little bit about Claas's history here in Canada.
Sure, we'll give her a try. So I used to be, up until recently, the territory rep for Saskatchewan for Claas of America, and recently just switched over to the regional product manager for Canada. So a little bit of a change, and here I am today. So I've been with the company for about 7 years, and Claas is an old company, been around since 1913, was first formed over in Germany, and started coming over slowly to North America in about 1952 with the pull-type combine, and slowly transitioned into some other mergers and acquisitions with Ford and Massey Ferguson, and now we are standing alone and marketing ourselves.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
And Robert, from you, you're there in St. Bru, the beginnings of the Bourgault Industries company. Listen, Saskatchewan can give a lot of credit to Bourgault as a company, certainly a success story that we hold on to. There's a number of successes that Bourgault can share with us. Midrow Banders as one of them. The first air seeder to be towed behind a cultivator, which, if I'm not mistaken, serves as the model for virtually every air seeder around the globe today. Share with us a little bit about yourself in the agriculture industry and the history around Bourgault.
Well, I'm a local boy. I'm from St. Bru originally, and after working away from home for a while, ended up coming back to St. Bru in 94, I believe, 94, 95, and have been with the company ever since. And the company itself was started by Frank Bourgault. He was a local farmer and also was a part owner of the Massey Ferguson dealership in St. Bru. And like a lot of farmers, he had a strong interest in invention and improving products, and a very mechanically minded type of person. St. Bru is bequeathed with a very stony land. We've got rocks, we've got all sorts of things that like to stress out of our equipment. So Frank set out to develop a tillage unit that was able to do both the job of a field cultivator and a deep tillage chisel plow, and then stand up to those conditions. And over time, he started building different versions of, he started with prototypes and started building for local buyers and basically marketing and selling them out of the back of the Massey. In time, he saw an opportunity to start a business, and so in 1974, Jerry, a few other partners, and also his son, Frank, a partner, and other partners, as well as Jerry, his son at the time, or let me try that again. Jerry, his son, who was recently a graduate of engineering, incorporated FP Bourgault Industries. And that was in 1974. In time, they built a little manufacturing facility and office on the edge of town, where they built these cultivators. Over time, as the popularity grew, they had a number of new models that came out, as well as all the attachments that go with it, like the mounted harrows and things like that. And as popularity grew with the tillage units, there was also air seeding technology that was just coming on the scene in Western Canada. So they decided that they were going to incorporate this in their package as well. So after doing some research and some development, and they also purchased the metering system from another Saskatchewan inventor, Jerome Bichard. And by 1980, they had released the first model of Bourgault air seeder, the 138. So over time, again, the popularity of the air seeding system grew. The number of models, implements grew. We over that period of time, we opened up a facility in Minot to help service our U.S. market. In 1995, we expanded into the Australian market and have 2 facilities working there now to service our Australian market. Our expansion into Eastern Europe began in 2002. And so we have a fairly good dealer network through Russia, Kazakhstan, and Ukraine. And we also have an office in Kiev to help market and service all of our equipment in the Eastern European region. We've also expanded in the different manufacturers. I'll try that again. In 2006, we purchased Highline Manufacturing, and now have them producing some Bourgault parts and equipment, but also still maintain their own product line of hay processing equipment. And that's probably
Robert.
enough.
Thanks a lot for sharing with us some of the history around Bourgault. Without question, the innovations that have come out of the Bourgault Industries have been of benefit to farmers like myself in Western Canada. Just like with Claas, I think that the history of these companies plays an important role in the new innovations that come and the day-to-day doings of the business. So we appreciate all of that. I'm wondering then, Rick, from your perspective and the history of Claas coming from Europe and into Canada, what do you think were some of the challenges that Claas would have experienced, or some of the adaptations you would have had to come from Europe and move into Western Canada, where we have loads of rocks, as Robert was mentioning?
Very good question. Growing conditions, I guess, crops are quite a bit different, practices. And so every time we try to bring a new piece of equipment over here, we have to basically North Americanize it. So there are quite a few challenges. Heavily regulated over in Europe. So a lot of things that we can do over here, they can't do over there. So our company is a lot more European driven. So let's take the baler hay tool line, for instance. We only make a baler that's 4 feet wide. In Europe, you can't have a load over 8 feet wide. So it brings a little bit of a challenge to us, and we just have to be more efficient and start bringing better equipment and showing people what it can do.
I've had the fortune of meeting farmers from all over the world. Robert, you mentioned Bourgault has moved into Australia, and Claas certainly has a large market share over in Europe. And it's interesting for me to talk to other farmers and share stories of the different equipment that we all run and operate. And the world gets smaller and smaller, and we start to see some of the same pieces of equipment all over the world. And I'm wondering, what you hear from farmers around the world in terms of what they're asking for, and whether or not those are big differences or if there's more similarities.
I think everybody is out after the same thing. They're farming for a reason. They love being on the farm, as you know, and they're looking to be profitable and successful and get larger. So the bottom line isn't, does this work? Does it work better than what I had before? And that's helping drive new sales and get the product out there. So we've got a lot of people out there taking 2 machines and trading them in for 1, because now they can get away from doing maintenance on 2 machines, have 1 less operator, and make the bottom line better for the operations. So, but technology is the big driving force, and that's basically what a lot of people are looking for.
Robert, I'll throw it back to you if you wanted to make a comment.
Sure. we definitely see similarities with the producers in the U.S., in Australia, in Eastern Europe. At the same time, too, there are differences in each of those regions that we have to accommodate if we want to have a system that's going to work for them. So, even though our platform and our concept of direct seeding has its advantages in each of those regions, we still find that there is some differences that over time and working directly with the producers and the dealers in those areas helps us be able to identify and to tailor our systems to work best in their regions.
I'd like to take the conversation over to consolidation. We've seen a number of mergers and acquisitions in the industry, and as a farmer myself, it makes me a little nervous, if I'm being honest. We're looking for more and more competition, so we have more options in our equipment to purchase. And I'm wondering if you can share with us your thoughts on this trend towards consolidation. Are we going to see more of that? And is the nervousness that I feel warranted, or can you help to put me at ease? Rick, I'll start with you.
Perfect. Yeah, actually, just my my personal opinion, I don't think you have anything to worry about. I mean, just because you're seeing 5 or 6 stores, maybe 10, 20 stores under one umbrella, that manufacturer or dealer is their own worst competition, and they have to keep the level of professionalism and the relationship up, because now with the internet and the world, like you said before, being such a small place, people are not scared to get online and buy something from a different region or different area. It's open 24 hours a day, the internet, and you can easily find somebody who's willing to give you the customer personalized service that maybe your dealer isn't in the area. So I think I've seen some companies come out, just with management relationship experts, and I think it's going to get a lot better for everybody. And also with the consolidations, the cost to the end user should be dropping as well, because they should be getting more and more efficient, utilizing more and more of their tools and talents, and should help bring a lower cost to the end user.
Well, that I like to hear. Robert, any thoughts on consolidation?
Yeah, I guess you can tell by my white hair that I've been around for a little while. And back in the late 90s, I was with Bourgault, and remember fairly clearly the run of consolidations that were happening back then. And I also recall there was a strong sentiment that we had to tie on to a mainline manufacturer in order to survive and to continue on in the future. Having the ability to look back now, we can see that we made the right decision to remain independent, and that it allowed us to be able to stay in charge of our own destiny. The ability to make those calls that we need to do fairly quickly to be able to address to the needs to producers in short order helps us to remain relevant for our customers. We don't have to sit back, or we don't have to hold off on getting the okay from a head office that's in another country or another continent in order to make these changes. So that ability to stay nimble has really helped, and I think that that's probably going to continue on in the future. So it really is interesting how we've had a number of short line seeding systems that have come out of this region of Saskatchewan and in Western Canada, and that continues on. So I think that we'll continue to see innovation and good ideas, good technologies that are coming out of this area.
Yeah.
As Rick had mentioned too, with dealer amalgamations, that's another aspect of the amalgamations that have been going on in our business, and it is different to have a relationship with a large multi-store company instead of local businesses. But in the end, it still comes down to establishing a good relationship with your dealer and the key people in those dealerships, so that we're offering not only the best product possible, but also we're making sure that we have a good relationship all the way through to the end customer.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think the industry of agriculture has always been so reliant on the strengths of our relationships between farmer to farmer and farmer to industry. It's been an important aspect of the agriculture sector. And but Rick, you had mentioned, there's building relationship, but we are seeing a trend towards online purchasing. And that is everything from our groceries to anything that Amazon can deliver us. And I'm wondering if we are going to see a continued trend when it comes to agriculture equipment or parts, and how might that affect the manufacturing industry if farmers start moving towards the purchase of parts and equipment online when we are so relationship dependent?
Good question. Could take a lot of thought, and you probably talk about this forever. Just like anything, online is there, but I guess for us it's a little bit different because we have parts that are we have somewhat of a monopoly. We've made them. Not just anybody can go and put a transmission in. So I mean, our sales will continue and everything else. Kind of losing the question here.
No, you do. You.
Can you repeat the question just shortly?
Yeah, so there is a trend to buying purchases online, and it's not so. I mean, I'm still a little nervous. I'll put things in the cart, and I'm not sure if I'll follow through on the purchase. Yeah. But we're seeing this as a big trend, and it's really across all sectors. And I'm wondering if the agriculture industry will move in that direction as well. Will you still see customers coming into the doors of your businesses to purchase equipment or to purchase parts, or will this too go online and we will get further distance from that strong relationship?
Honestly, I think it's a personal preference. Just like you mentioned, buying groceries, that's my personal outing. I go out and I like to see people and everything else. I have friends, they're online, they push the button, groceries are getting delivered to them. Most of the customers I know and have relationships with, they like to come into the store and meet people. They're writing checks for millions of dollars, and they still want to, that relationship and that personalized service. Although I do know some people that have spent $5-6 million over text. So it's all over the map. As many farmers as there is, that's how many answers I think you'll get with that. So it's competition again, and it's going to make the dealership or the manufacturer step up to the plate and become harder. Better and work harder. Yeah. And satisfy people's needs.
Robert, another of the trends that we're seeing is this move towards digitalized farming. Smart farming is another term that's being used. We've got very scientifically advanced pieces of equipment out there. What do you think is the next thing that farmers can expect? Are there still efficiencies to be gained? And what are we going to see going forward?
I think that we've been in the throes of some of the biggest changes that agriculture has seen since probably post-World War II. There's been some huge changes in technology. It's really advanced the progress in farming and in our particular business of seeding equipment. One of the systems that you see kind of on the front of magazines and on the internet is, of course, autonomous seeding, and that one's been getting a lot of attention. I think that one we're probably still a little ways off from seeing that actually being adopted on any kind of a large scale, but it does show that there is interest in that, and that there is room to grow. There are a couple of different ways that autonomous seeding can be addressed. They're exploring ways such as like with the DOT system that was out earlier, an autonomous independent platform that can do seeding plus other jobs. There's also, you see with the mainliners where they're developing the ability to create that autonomy into existing platforms. So you'll see your large four-wheel drive tractors that look very much the same as any other four-wheel drive tractor, but in time the farmer will be able to run hands off or possibly out of the seat. And there's another interesting technology too with swarm technology, and you see, I believe it's Claus that is testing that, where you have a bunch of little robots that go out and seed in the field and then go back to the mothership to load up on seed and fertilizer. So that would be an interesting thing to see happening in the field next to you.
Yeah, it's incredibly exciting to see some of the new innovations that are coming our way. I think farmers in general are put into several different categories. We've got some early adopters that cannot wait to see the newest and latest equipment. Certainly the price of it these days is something that is overly scrutinized. We have to look at whether or not the new investment has a return and how quickly we can see that return on some of the expensive innovations that are coming our way. But it certainly keeps the next generation excited. And I'd like to talk a little bit about the next generation coming up and the workforce that both Claus and Bourgault may be looking into. When you think about what skills are necessary for the workforce in manufacturing, do you think how important is an agriculture background when you're thinking about employing the people for Claus or for Bourgault? How important is that agriculture background?
Well, I think it really helps so you can fit in and have, a connection with the people that you're dealing with. Myself, I was born in the city, like I mentioned before, and switched over, and I love it. It's great. In the skilled labor, it's tough. It's hard to find somebody almost in any industry. I've got friends, with other businesses and everything. Recently, like I mentioned, I switched jobs, and it took a long time to find my replacement. It's hard to find somebody. As you know, you're a farmer. This work isn't 5 days a week. It's 7 days a week. You're working holidays, long hours, and the equipment needs to go. Cattle aren't waiting to be fed. Cows need to be milked. Crops need to be seeded. It needs to be done in a timely manner. So there's a lot of hours, and not too many people are lining up and waiting in line to take that job. But if somebody's willing to work hard and put in the time, it's a very rewarding career. Some of my best friends are farmers now. Not only are they customers, but you become very close to them. And we're always looking for good people that are willing to put in the time and the work.
Yeah.
So it's tough to find people.
Yeah. Robert, I'll ask you a pretty similar question. Have you got a stack of resumes that are sitting at your desk, people lined up to work at Bourgault, or is it something that you really have to, build relationships with the next generation of workforce?
Labor is actually one of our biggest challenges that we have today, and it's constantly a challenge to be able to keep our workforce up to the level that we would like to see it at to run at peak efficiency. The location, being located in Northeast Saskatchewan, might not be the most attractive for a number of people, but we do have locations across. Like we do have an office in Saskatoon as well, and another locales. But for a little while now, we've been really struggling to get enough people, both skilled and for general labor, working at the plant. It's so anybody who is interested, anybody who's looking for a job, you can go onto the Bourgault website under careers, and you can have a look at all of the different positions that are available. Bourgault does make an effort to train on the job as well. So even if you're not a welder, but you're interested in doing that, you can apply and go through. There is a program available that helps teach on the go. So that's open to anybody who is motivated and would like to get a job here at our company.
Well, I think that's a pretty good sales pitch for the next generation that's looking for work. Any other challenges or obstacles you want to mention that are affecting the manufacturing industry today?
Well, as you know, COVID, I guess that's something for everybody right now. But
Sure.
Horsepower, I guess, and the challenges of being
Literally
regulated.
and metaphorically speaking,
Yeah.
horsepower.
Yeah. So like, I mean, regulations coming down. I mean, the carbon tax, let's not go there. But I think in the future, we're going to have more regulations, and we're going to, we're getting into tier 5 final engines and stuff like this.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be whoever can come out with the best design to make the producer more efficient is going to be the winner. And it's going to be exciting to see what comes down the line.
Yeah, and coming from a company like Claas that really has their thumb on the pulse of regulation and what is coming from Europe, I think it will be helpful to have that perspective here in Canada, where we're seeing that regulation creep in other countries. We know that it's a possibility out here as well.
Definitely. Like, I've got a lot of people that I know that farm over there, like in the Netherlands, Germany, stuff like that, and they complain that they're heavily regulated, so they move over here. And you slowly but surely, you do see those regulations creeping over here. So it's a sign of the times.
Yeah.
They are coming whether we want them or not.
Yeah. Any thoughts about the regulatory piece from your perspective, Robert?
Very, very similar challenges. We have probably transport is a big one for us because of the size of our equipment. So we are constantly looking at ways that we can improve on our width and height transportation dimensions, and also too with just the regulatory demands. Like, we need to have big horsepower to pull that big equipment, so that goes hand in hand with the tractor manufacturers, and then with manufacturing as well. It's every year there seems to be some new regulations or new restrictions that are coming on board, and so we're always doing our best to work with the provincial and federal governments to meet those new demands, but it does end up causing some extra effort on our part in order to be able to do that.
Yeah, well, the regulation piece is an important piece when it comes to the agriculture sector. I've always looked at regulation and policy as the rules of the sport. If farming is the sport, the regulation and the policy around that is the rules. And it's interesting that farmers, we are certainly concerned about transportation, what we grow here in these landlocked provinces in the middle of a great big country of Canada. We are so dependent on a reliable transportation system that will get that commodity all the way across the country and onto a vessel and to its customer. And it certainly is relevant to the manufacturing industry as well to be dependent on transportation.
Oh, for sure, yes.
Well, I want to thank both of you gentlemen for joining us on the manufacturing panel today. If you're watching and you have any questions for our panelists, please jump on the chat and let us know. We appreciate you joining us today, and we'll see you for another session.
If you're looking to add an expert voice to your decision-making process, invite your local Ministry of Agriculture specialist to the table. Located in offices around the province, specialists provide the latest agronomic and programming information and advice tailored to your operation. Contact the Agriculture Knowledge Centre by phone or online to connect with your nearest specialist today.